Hello, once again, this is apt-s, and in this video we're going to go over a little bit about if statements in C++. And so what is an if statement? Well, an if statement basically, it just checks the condition against another condition. It just really, all it does is sees if something is true or false. So it's just a logical operation. So to do an if statement in C++, all we have to do is say if, and in parentheses we say if a value, let's say value 5, is equal to 5. And notice that I have a double equal sign here, and this is how we say equals or equivalence in C++. It's different from saying if x is equal to 5. This is not the same thing. This is saying is if 5 is assigned to 5, which we can't do because this would have to be a variable. So we would leave it like this. Right after that, we're going to put in brackets. The brackets aren't necessary, but they really do help organize your code, and I highly recommend using them. And here we put our execution statement, so whatever we want to execute. So if this is true, we're going to do cout it is, because 5 is equal to 5. Let's go ahead and print this out and see what happens. Well, it is. Well, 5 is equal to 5, so that's what it's going to do. We also can do what we call a not equals. So if 5 is not equal to 5, then print out it is not. And let's see what it does. Well, it does nothing because, well, 5 is equal to 5, and so it's not going to actually execute this. So the condition is false, so it won't do whatever is inside of the execution portion. We also have what we call a less than operator. Basically, it says if 5 is less than 5, then do this. Greater than, if 5 is greater than 5, greater than equals. So I'm just saying if 5 is greater than or equal to 5, or a less than equals. And so these are the 6 operators we have in our logical statements, and basically you can use them in different ways to test conditions and see if they're true or not, if we want something to happen based on a condition. Just to go over a little bit about the x equals, the sign operator instead of the equivalence, and just so you don't mess this up ever, because it can be problematic in your code. So we'll just make an integer x, and we'll set it equal to the value of 5. And what this is doing is, right here we're just making a variable, and in this statement we're saying if x is assigned to 5, or 5 is being assigned to x. So if this is true, well then cout this. Well, we're just going to print out this, and so it is true. So basically what's happening is it's asking whether or not 5 it has been assigned to x or not, and which it will always evaluate to true because we're just assigning 5 to x, and so it doesn't matter what x is. We can say x is any number, it will always evaluate to true, and so it's problematic because it's not actually asking equivalence or not. It's just asking whether it was assigned or not, in which it will always be. And so it would always be true. It always will print out it is true no matter what x is. Alright, so also if we want to add another condition in our if statement, what we call an else, is basically a condition if the top portion doesn't evaluate. So if this doesn't evaluate, then it, instead of executing this code, it will execute whatever is in here. And again, these brackets are not necessary, but I would highly recommend using them. So here we can just cout something, or you can just have whatever condition you want to happen, and let's say it is false. And so we'll change the condition here if x is 8 or 9, sorry. So we'll just go ahead and if 9 is equal to 5, then do this. If it's not, then do this. So let's see what happens. And it is false. And it is false because, well, 9 is not equal to 5, so it's not going to execute this, but it's going to execute this here. We also can do going to call an else if statement. And what I mean by else if is we can put another condition for our else portion. So else if x is not equal to 5. And, sorry, there should be a space there. And so basically what we're doing, first we're going to evaluate this. If x is equal to 5, then do this. If it's not, then else if x is not equal to 5, then do this. But if we had something like, let's say, well, I guess let's just go ahead and run this real fast and see what happens. And it's going to say it's false because this statement evaluates and this one does not. We also could say if x is less than 5, and we could have another else statement. And we could say out neither are true. And we'll just go ahead and see what happens. And you see it goes with the neither are true portion because this one, well, doesn't evaluate, and then it goes to this one and checks, well, else if x is less than 5, well, is it? Well, it's not, so it will skip this part and go ahead and do neither are true. Something you probably should know is you don't need to have the else statement. We can just go ahead and get rid of this. And example, we could just say, well, if we wanted to check if something is true and we want to have its condition right after, we don't need to say else. We can just go ahead and say, well, do this because it would do that anyways. Else, if we didn't want them either to evaluate, then we could change it a little bit. But I guess that's the basics for if statements for now, and I'll go over a little bit more in detail in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.